What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Steven Azure, one half of the most likable tag team in all of pro wrestling. Of course, I'm referring to the Even Stevens. But today, we were not wrestling. We were at the PPG. It was Ghost from the Past Regional. And your boy just happened to get top 8. It was a field of 88 players. And it was top 6 prizing. Top 8 was playoffs. I made it to playoffs. I lost to my friend, who ended up getting second place. He went all the way to the finals, so that was kind of cool. And come see what I was playing. Got a field spell, Masterpiece, Our Lord and Savior, R.I.P. And that,
Shall we have him back?
Yeah, definitely not. I should actually mention what I'm playing. I didn't even. I was playing Dogmatika Invoked. No Shaddolls. There was a Shaddoll engine, but not in the main deck. It was just Schism and Winda. So the main deck, 40 card main deck, nice and clean. We play the boy, 3 Aleister, the best normal summon in the game in my opinion, and he just played 3 of them because he's the best normal summon ever. Going on to the Dogmatika cards. We play 3 Ecclessia. Ideally, the whole point of the deck is we're trying to open up 1 Aleister and 1 Ecclessia. That lets us go into our play. That lets us go Aleister plus Ecclessia, or Aleister, Nadir Servant, Meltdown, Nadir Servant, anything like that. Lets you go plus 6 and ends you on 3 interruptions and Schism set with Winda setup. And if you just don't have the immediate out to Winda, then you pretty much just lose. And even if you do out to Winda, I have 3-4 other interruptions. So we play 3 Ecclessia, that's why we're maxing on it. The other Dogmatika cards, we played 1 and 1. Knight Fleur, and then Maximus. This you're always searching off of end phase when you send Titaniklad to the graveyard. This I'm usually searching off of the Ecclessia. I usually search Ecclessia off Nadir, and then you grab Maximus. If you have Maximus already, we will grab Punishment, which I'll show later. This card is the best and worst card in the deck at the same time. If your opponent is playing targets in the extra deck, or my worst matchup is 100% Shaddolls, any version of Shaddolls. If I do Maximus blind going first, and they just send Entis apkallone, I lose. Because they Entis my Mechaba, and then they apkallone, get rid of all the fusions in my graveyard, so I can't even make Winda. So I literally just lose at that point. So I do have 1 card that helps me play around it. I'll show it off just next. But if they weren't playing targets and I'm playing against Dragon Link, it's just super over for you. This just gives me this card lets me go +3. It's just insane, and I get Winda on board. So I'm probably gonna try to play a build where I can cut it, maybe add Shaddoll monsters in the main deck so I can not have to play them, not lose to them playing targets. But for today, it was pretty good for the most part today. On to the next card. This is definitely, I guess, some spice if you want to call it, but we were on 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. This was a day of change. Literally the night before, I was I want to be able to resolve Maximus and not lose to Shaddolls. So I just put this in so that I go Aleister, I go into Almiraj, and then I summon this. This lets me make Abyss Dweller. So I can Dweller before going into my Maximus play. So now if you are playing targets, they're just completely turned off by Dweller, and also I can shut your graveyard off next turn. I don't think it ever came up today where I actually had both of these together. I didn't have the combo with it. But there was a couple of times where I just made Dweller against Prank Kids, and they just lost because Dweller was too powerful. And I think I also made Dweller against, I think a Dragon Link player, and it stopped him from, doing, his white and black Dragon, searches and stuff like that. So, Dweller is, insanely powerful. So even if it did, serve the purpose of stopping their plays for Maximus, Dweller's just insane. And it gave me that extra security with Maximus. Then going on to a couple of hand traps. We played 3 copies of Nibiru. It's Nibiru, I think, I mean, people go back and forth between, main decking, side decking it, I do too, but, Dragon Link is in the format, Prank Kids are in the format, this just, it's a very high impact hand trap, and when you're playing against a deck that you want to see it against, you want to see it against. And then for the other hand trap, the most generic hand trap in the game is Ash Blossom. It literally hits everything. I really didn't want to play this because I thought, Droll, Knockbird, and stuff like that might be better because, it'll end people's turns. But then this just ended up being, the most valuable card, ever. There's so many times where, I saw this, and I'm oh, this isn't going to be enough, and then it was just enough, because, my opponent would just had hands where, this hit their choke point, because they're just so generic enough to hit, whatever I needed. I literally, game 1, round 1 of the tournament, my opponent won Daryl, and he goes Red Eyes Fusion, I just ash him, and I win. And then, later on, game 3 against Dragon Link, this was my only hand trap going second, and it was game 3, and I'm oh, I guess I just lose. He went Chaos Space, pitched the White Dragon, I ashed him, and I just won because of that. He just, he set up a play, but, it just wasn't, it didn't matter. I was able to skip a Dragon Link player's turn just because of the ash. you know, it's not always going to work that way, but like just having it be that generic like helps out a lot, and I didn't think it would. Onward to some of the spells, like we play 3 Magical Meltdown. Obviously, it's an Invoked Aleister deck. Play 3 copies of Nadir Servant. It's a Dogmatika. It's Dogmatika, so like you need to have Nadir Servant, obviously. We play triple copies of Prosperity. The deck does have some consistency problems, so like you definitely want to be able to dig cards in. A lot of times I wasn't even digging 6. Like if you have both copies of your engine, you just reveal 3. It's just like Pot of Duality, but you can still special summon, so it's like that's fine. Like this card is fantastic all day. This card's like insanely broken, especially going first when like damage doesn't even matter. We are playing 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This card was like iffy today. Like it won me like that Dragonlink player where I beat him game 3 because I had the Ash. Like this won me my game 2 against him because like I went first and I kind of didn't open that well. It's pretty much like Mechaba pass, but like I had like Dogmatika Punishment, another trap, and like this set. And like this was just able to get me there because I just negated his LP and Striker Dragon when he was going for like the Guard Dragon plays, and that was it. Like he didn't have any follow up. So like this card beat like I would do Dark Lord no more, and a lot of people were, but the fact that it was a quick play and I could set it on my turn like came up so many times. Even when like I played against people who dropped Dragoon on me, and like just being able to do this like in response after they discard a resource, like it's so nice. Then we're playing Invoke, so playing 2 copies of Invocation. This was 100% a mistake today. Like, usually I always advocate for 2, but, like, Aleister just gets hit with so much stuff, and normally you don't care because, like, you'll make the Link monster and you just go into your Dogmatika plays, but you don't always open Dogmatika plays. And every time, like, Aleister got hit and I had the second Invocation in hand already, it was just, like, super free. Like, it just makes your opponent discard a hand trap for, like, no reason, and you still get to build your same board. So, like, I definitely want to put this up to 3. Like, I occasionally draw it anyway, like, without Aleister, so it's, like, I'd rather have the extra copies with Aleister and just risk, like, drawing into it hard, because that's, like, you know, you can discard it if you have Dogmatika plays anyway, when you search for apkallone. Then we play 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. This card is generic back row removal that banishes. This card is really good. I think every deck in the format is playing, like, 2 or 3 copies of this, like, in the main deck. Like, you just gotta. And then 1 copy of Terraforming to search out the Meltdown. Onward to the traps, we got 6 of them. The last hand trap was 3 Impermanence. This was probably, like, really lackluster. Like, it came up once against, I was playing against Phantom Knight, PK Fire or whatever, with the Burning Abyss engine. And, like, it was cool. Like, I hit his Rusty Bardiche, and, like, he pretty much, like, made a subpar board because of it. But, like, I also, if it was Ash or whatever, like, I Ashed his Bardiche game 1, and I hit him with Imperm game 2. Like, it could have just been, like, an Ash or whatever. Like, this card really, like, this was probably one of the least effective cards in my deck, like, throughout the entire tournament. Like, this almost never came up. It came up in my top 8 match. My opponent had Imperial Order. My friend Chrysler got 2nd place. And so, like, I set this into the Imperial Order and was able to turn it off for the turn, but he had so much advantage, and he had, like, another Floodgate. He had a summon limit up, so, like, I just wasn't able to play through it anyway, but it was, like, this card's probably, like, getting cut, like, instantly. Like, I can probably find something that's better to play, maybe, like, a natural trap or a better hand trap. And then the last couple of cards, 2 Dogmatika Punishment. I'm playing 3 Ecclessia, so it's, like, once you search out your monsters, you want to have access to these, and this card is, like, insane. A searchable, like, trap that can potentially pop 2 or get you into your engine is wild. And then the last card, obviously, Shaddoll Schism. It's your win condition. It's what you're searching off of apkallone, and it's how you're summoning Winda on your opponent's turn and winning the duel, most likely. So that's it for the main deck. That's a clean 40-card deck. Like I said, a couple changes I'd probably make to it. Like, definitely a 3rd Invocation. Might try cut Maximus. Might try put some Shaddolls in there and just try doing that. Make it a little less risky. But, I mean, for today, it was pretty good. Like, Maximus didn't really hurt or backfire on me too much, so it was fine. Going on to the extra deck. We got our Karibo token. We got our Link monsters, our Almiraj Secure Gardna. This is your standard Aleister play. Go into Almiraj, and then you can do Parallel Exceed, or you just go into your Secure Gardna, and that's your like to make Mechaba. And the reason you have to play this over Artemis is because you need another monster graveyard to banish in order to summon Maximus. That's like the whole point of it. Otherwise, you'd just be playing Artemis over this and have an extra deck slot. We played 1 Cross Sheep. I think I only summoned this once today. I just wanted to have a generic link too. The idea is you summon this as follow-up, and then you Aleister, use whatever monster you have and your Ecclessia to summon this. You Aleister Fusion and use this effect to revive Ecclessia. Ecclessia effect, get whatever you want, Punishment, Fleurdelis, whatever you need. The only time this came up is, you'll see in my side deck, I played Retaliating C, because, like, as I mentioned, Shaddoll is my hardest matchup. and people are just passing because they're like, oh, I can't play either because like I need my graveyard, and I just take the Retaliating C and my normal summon Aleister, and I just make Crush Heap and get so much advantage, and there's like, oh, you could just like get rid of it because most decks are just playing these 2 link monsters like the Invoked Dogmatika, so like having access to just any generic link 2 is just like so nice. But like his effect never came up. I just used him to link off literally 1 game. This is a proxy, my friend, shout out to Jesse Jurgensen. He actually got top 16 too. He didn't, I think he got 14th place, so he got some prize support, but didn't actually make play cut. But this was an Abyss Dweller. This is what we made. He actually gave me the Parallel Seeds too, because I just left all my stuff at home because I wanted to travel light. So literally day of, I was like, yo, does anybody have this stuff? And he had the Dweller and all 3 Exceeds. So shout out to Jesse. He has a lifesaver. Like the Dweller definitely came up. And then onto the Shaddoll package, we have the 3 Shaddolls. We only play Schism in the main deck, so this is what we're doing to actually summon Winda. Off of Nadir Servant or Maximus, we're sending apkallone. Apkallone lets us add Schism and discard any card. If you have Nadir Servant, what you do is you send apkallone, you search Schism and discard Schism, and then off of Maximus you send this and Titaniklad, and Construct will just add the Schism from graveyard so you don't lose a resource. If you don't have Nadir Servant and you just have Maximus or Ecclessia, you can actually just banish this from graveyard and then send Construct and Titaniklad the same thing. And then you just have to discard something from your hand for the Schism, so you lose a little advantage off of that, but you still have like the name to like just make the Winda. And you play the Winda obviously as like your big floodgate. Onward to the Invoke cards. Raidjin. I don't know if people are like playing this or not. Like this card came up so many times for me. Like it's great in the Bird Up matchup, the Tri-Brigade matchup, which was my only loss during Swiss. I lost to pure Tri-Brigade. I just bricked like mega hard and like there's nothing I could do about it. But like this, I made this against Prank Kids where I banished their Fansies to make it and then just booked their normal summon on the following turn and won because of it. I made it against Dragon Link because I just banished the Droll and Lockbird to hit me with, and same thing, just booked their normal summon and they pretty much passed turn. Like this card came up so many times for me. Like I summoned this so many more times than I thought I would today, and it was just wild. Purgatrio standard, like usually like I would think I'd make Purgatrio like every game. Like I only made Purgatrio like twice today, and I made Raidjin I feel like every other game. Like it was just wild. Like Purgatrio didn't really come up too often, but I did win a game because I just like the UCT like attacked everything and like I got it. A Dragon Link player just had like monsters on board. Augoeides literally like next to Mechaba, probably the best fusion like in the game. Like this card is just absolutely insane. Like the number of times I killed people because on turn 2 I just summon this, banish like anything, like banish the Shaddoll or like a Titaniklad or anything like that out of my graveyard, make him 4,500, 55 with Aleister. Like all you gotta do is swing once with this, and then like any other monster in this game, this card is like insane. And he's like a pseudo floodgate because if I don't kill you, like he just pops on special summon. And if I have magical meltdown on the field too, like you can't even respond to him on summon, so it's great, which came up a couple times. And then the last one is 2 Mechaba, obviously like standard, like he's the best one. He's what you're making turn 1. He protects your plays or whatever. And then the last couple cards, we play 2 Entis to pop. 2 is correct, and 2 is like perfect. Came up plenty of times. And the last card is just the 1 Titaniklad. The Abyss, before I played the Dweller, there was 2 Titaniklads. That's what the Dweller was. But 1 is fine, and honestly, like I wanted the Dweller in there to protect against like the extra deck, so my Maximus plays were safe. So this was definitely fine. Like I missed having it like 1 time, but like I was in such like it's kind of like a grind game, but I was probably gonna lose it even if I did have a second, so I definitely didn't really miss it. That was main extra, and then the last thing onto the side deck, we played 3 copies of Retaliating C. This card literally like won me my round 1 like entirely by itself, and then like I never played it again. Like I played against Shaddoll Invoked round 1, and round 1, I just had game. Game 2, I sided this in. He actually made me go first, so I just went like Mechaba Pass or something like that. He went Shaddoll Fusion, or I'm sorry, he went Aleister Invocation or whatever. I dropped this on the Invocation. He beat over it, whatever. We're like kind of in a grind going back and forth. Then I had 2 of them, so I clear his board. I think I have like Raidjin or something up. He goes Shaddoll Fusion. I chain the second one to it, and he just loses all of his resources as a result of that. When your opponent goes Shaddoll Fusion from extra deck and you sending cards from main deck and you just have Retaliating C, like it's super game. And like I said, like I can't really Maximus once I know they're playing it, so I need to have cards where it's like my deck is much weaker by not being able to go into apkallone because of Maximus, so I needed cards where if I was playing Shaddolls, I had blowout cards, and this card's a complete blowout. And it performed very well. Next one was 3 Droll and Lockbird. I sided this in a lot against like any Dogmatika, any Invoked deck, the mirror match. It came up a lot against Dragon Link. I think Droll and Lockbird is standard in the side at this point. Like, it's too good not to play. People are even main decking it now, and it's like, that's like not even, like, it should be in your deck somewhere, in my opinion. 3 Dark Ruler, no more. I just was D-Link, Dragon Link, like, going second, like, it's hard to break the board, so it's like, I just wanted to have stuff for that. And same thing for, like, the Bird Up matchup, where you can just, like, stop their barrier statues and you can't really respond to it. Same thing with, like, Droplet. I just went hardcore on, like, the effect negation. Same thing, like, people are main decking this, like, this needs to be in your deck somewhere at 3 of, like, 100%, not even up for debate. Last thing, Twin Twisters. This can be, like, anything. Like, this is, like, your back row removal. Like, I was playing an evenly match, but then I was thinking, like, if I played against Prank Kids or, like, Shaddolls, where it's, like, there are cards, like, Schism can only be used during main phase, Pandemonium can only be used during main phase, so, like, if you know what they have set or whatever, like, you can just Twin Twisters during draw phase or standby phase, and you know that their stuff can't be activated, so, I really like Twin for this. I end up losing to Eldritch, like, and I feel like a lot, even, like, the Tri-Brigade was my one loss during Swiss, so, like, these were originally evenly matches, and now that I'm thinking about it, like, I probably wish I just had evenly match instead, because, like, it's more of a blowout against, like, actual back row decks, and against, like, the Bird Up deck, like, it would just destroy their board, too, because they just don't set up, like, actual, like, negation, it's just, like, monster negation. So, like, yeah, like, it's player's choice, but, like, I'm already playing Cosmic in the main, like, I'd probably squeeze the 3rd Cosmic in somewhere and make these evenlies just to have more of a blowout card. And then the last one, DDJ, like, this card is, like, mental. This is my only card I put in for, like, decided for going first, pretty much. If you're playing combo, if you're playing Dragon Link, Prank Kids, Shaddolls, Invoked, anything like that, this card says skip your opponent's turn. Like, it's literally what it does. Like, every time I activated this card, I won that game. Like, there's not a single game where I resolved this and lost. Like, it just didn't happen. Like, this card is just insane. Like, a 1-turn Macrocosmos where I'm already set up, and it's chainable, so, like, even, like, people are siding stuff, like, evenly in Lightning Storm for my back row or whatever. If I can just chain this before it gets destroyed, you know, or, like, the Cosmic it, they Twin Twister it, like, a chainable normal trap card that just says your opponent skips their turn, like, is just absolutely insane. And that was the deck list. Again, we got 8th place today at the PPG in Miami, Florida. This goes from the past regional. I did get my invite, as did my boy Chrysler. Shout out to him. And yeah, shout out to Creative Pro Wrestling Academy. You know, we were rocking the vest the entire day. I know my boy Steve Somerset's gonna be really happy about that. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Steven Azure was piloting Shaddoll Invoked, and he did pretty damn well with it. So, this is me signing off. Steven Azure, best in the world.